We've known for a little bit that Kenley Jansen's on the Red Sox chopping block, but could there be two more relievers to add to that mix? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and man, this sucks. It really does feel like the only Red Sox news going on right now is who the Red Sox are going to trade away next. It feels like that's the only thing connected with the Red Sox when it comes to the offseason market, and my hope is that this is all some sort of bigger move, that they're trying to trade one of these players to make room for something big and impactful, but at this point, that's just a hope. Now, in terms of actual reports themselves, we know that Kenley has been on the block with the Red Sox for quite some time now, but what we didn't know is he's not the only reliever to be mentioned on this list. So what we are going to do in today's video is we're going to break down the latest Red Sox news and reports. We're going to talk about what this means, who's on the block, how they could impact the Boston Red Sox, and we're going to be talking about ultimately what the likelihood of these guys getting traded away are, plus how everything ultimately impacts the 2024 Red Sox. But before we get into that, we are on the road to 10,000 subscribers. That's right, we're less than 800 subscribers away from that mark. So if you're new here, help us get there by hitting that subscribe button. We talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is take a look at the actual report itself, break that down, and try and figure out what it means about the Red Sox plans with these relievers this offseason. This report came out last night from one Christopher Smith, an excellent Red Sox beat reporter for Mass Live, where he basically detailed the latest rumblings about a Kenley Jansen trade. And in there, in my opinion, there were two key takeaways from this article. The first is that the Red Sox are still trying to trade Kenley Jansen. They are still putting his name on the block, seeing what teams are interested, what the packages look like, all that good stuff. But that's not new news. What is new news in this article regarding Kenley is that while the Red Sox have him on the block, they're not willing to eat any of his salary. Basically, they want to trade Kenley Jansen and the $16 million attached to him, which is going to make things a whole lot more interesting. Not only does this make it less appealing to other teams, it also probably means you're going to get less in return for the Boston Red Sox. It makes it honestly difficult for both sides to figure out a middle ground here if the Red Sox aren't willing to put up any money in that $16 million salary. So based on this article, the Red Sox are going to have, in my opinion, a more difficult time trading Kenley this offseason because they don't want to part with any of his salary. They want to make sure that if they're trading him, they're gaining $16 million in their self-imposed budget room, right? That's sort of the goal here, and that's going to make it difficult for the Red Sox to get rid of him. The second important thing in this article is a quote in here that clearly defines who else the Red Sox are thinking about. According to this article, quote, according to an executive with another major league team, the Red Sox have made it known that they're willing to listen to offers not only to Jansen, but to set up men Chris Martin and John Schreiber. Now, this article doesn't flat out come out and say that the Red Sox are shopping them or that they put them on the chopping block. That's just how executives speak, right? They're never going to say, oh yeah, this dude, he is clearly putting him on the chopping block. What they're going to say is, oh, they've made it publicly known. Basically, what the Red Sox have done is they put it out there that, hey, listen, we're not going to come out and say that we want to trade these guys, but if you come over to us and you talk to us about Chris Martin or John Schreiber, we're one, not hanging up the phone, and two, if you give us the right offer, we're probably going to say yes. They're basically putting him on the block without actually putting him on the block, at least publicly speaking. This is actually super interesting because each of them are going to have a big impact on the 2024 team and would be a pretty big loss to the 2024 Red Sox. Chris Martin, obviously because of how good he was last year, is expected to be a staple of the 24 bullpen. Chris Martin last season may have genuinely been the most underrated reliever in the entire sport. He had a 1.05 ERA in 51 innings. His FIP was still really impressive, albeit a little bit higher at 2.44. He had a whip of just 1.032 and an absolutely ludicrous 4.34 ERA plus. That's 334% better in terms of his ERA than the average pitcher in Major League Baseball. Those are flat out video game numbers. However, why they'd want to trade him, there could be some precedent here. We know that the Red Sox are looking to build for a longer term outlook. They're not looking to put everything in to win now. It's made very, very clear this offseason that that's their ultimate goal. Chris Martin is going into his age 38 season, and he's scheduled to make right around $8.5 million towards the CBT this season. They're truly looking to get pieces that are going to be impactful pieces in 25, 26, 27, and under control for a while. Chris Martin doesn't fit that bill, but he also could bring that in based on what he did last season. It does make some sense for the Red Sox to put him on the chopping block based solely on their strategy. Not because I think they should trade him, but based solely on their strategy. It makes sense that Chris Martin, who's 38 on a one-year deal and had an absolutely incredible season last season, is something that they look to both shed salary and get something impactful for the pipeline in return. However, John Schreiber is basically the exact opposite situation here, because not only last year was he struggling a little bit, finishing with a 3.86 ERA over 46 and 2/3 innings with a kind of slightly concerning FIP of 4.52 and a 1.414 whip, mainly because his walk rate jumped to the highest of his career at 4.8 per 9 innings. Basically 5 walks every 9 innings he pitched. Not exactly fantastic for a reliever. However, his overall ERA still sat solid at 1.18, or about 18% better than the average pitcher in Major League Baseball. He was still a solid pitcher, but it wasn't what we saw in 2022, and it certainly isn't the John Schreiber we know and love. His name being mentioned in trade talks is super interesting to me because it kind of flips everything on its head. For starters, trading him wouldn't free up really any money in the Red Sox dumb imaginary budget. Drink for those of you who are playing the game of every time I say dumb imaginary budget. He's scheduled to make about $1.175 million in 2024. That's not exactly shedding salary to add someone in who could be a bigger impact player, right? With Martin and Jansen, that's a significant amount of money off the books. With Schreiber, especially to a team like the Boston Red Sox, that's really a drop in the bucket. He's also a long-term solution to the Red Sox bullpen. He's still under arbitration until 2027. That's 3 more years of control of John Schreiber. It just doesn't make a ton of sense why he'd be on this list. So far, the names are thrown out, again, is to shed salary and move on from players from short-term deals, and John Schreiber is neither of those things. So now when you're looking at it, next to Kenley Jansen, the Red Sox also have an open book on Chris Martin. Again, 2 of these guys make sense to me. One of them makes really no sense when you're looking at philosophy-wise why they may want to trade him. But when you're looking at all 3 from least likely to most likely, I think John Schreiber is probably the least likely person to be traded out of those 3. Unless the perfect deal comes along, they really don't have a reason they need to push to get him traded. Then I think it's Kenley Jansen because of the money attached to him and because the Red Sox don't want to spend any to trade him. And finally, I think the most likely person that the Red Sox could trade over the next couple of days, based on what we've heard, is Chris Martin, which sucks because Chris Martin makes a ton of sense in this Red Sox bullpen. He was not only an absolutely fantastic reliever that last year, that even honestly, if he doubles his ERA in 2024, will still be one of the better relievers in Major League Baseball. That's how good he was last year. It was really, really impressive, but he was also a great clubhouse guy, or is a great clubhouse guy. He hasn't been traded yet. He helped teach Nick Pivetta his whirly bird slider that absolutely wipes out pitchers and has helped Nick Pivetta get on track. Josh Winkowski and John Schreiber have talked about speaking with him about his mentality going into games, how he was able to overcome adversity kind of later in his career to start being successful again. He's a really important player in the Red Sox bullpen, both statistically and personality-wise. Losing him in 2024 would really, really suck. But, and I hate to say it, but if the Red Sox are looking to shed salary, it's probably more likely that you're going to be able to get a team to give you something significant in return. Chris Martin is clearly more tradable, and that absolutely sucks. And to me, this is starting to feel a little bit desperate. It's starting to feel like the Red Sox are trying everything they can to get rid of some salary here. Now, I know some of you are sitting there saying, "No, Corbin, they're just trying to get rid of salary because they're trying to be cheap." And that could be the case, but I also think if that's the reason why not just wait till the deadline and trade as many people as you possibly can, because then there's absolute precedent for that, right? You could get rid of Kenley and Chris Martin. Now you're only paying half their salaries this year. You get half a season of their bait, right? It just doesn't make sense to me why you'd put these names out there now. To me, it feels like there's another shoe to drop here. There's another angle we aren't looking at this, that there's possibly something that this is leading to, that there's a reason the Red Sox are trying everything in their power to trade one of these relievers to free up some room. Who that is, the reason for that, I don't know, and maybe I'm trying to rationalize something that just can't be rationalized, but it just feels like there's another shoe to drop with this whole situation. Now, the only wrench in this is John Schreiber. Why is John Schreiber being mentioned? He doesn't fit the mold of what the Red Sox have been looking to do, at least with their relievers this offseason. Is it because they feel as though they can get a legitimate package back, maybe a back-end starter, and this is what all of this is trying to do? They're not trying to shed salary. They're just trying to flip one of Kenley, Chris Martin, or John Schreiber into a possible number 5? Or is it because they feel as though they don't think they can get John Schreiber back to what he was in 2022? Maybe they're nervous that that's never going to be repeated again. I don't know. And right now, to me, there are a ton of questions and there are answers surrounding the Red Sox. This is just another layer to it, right? What are they doing and why are they trying to trade away so many relievers is an absolutely massive question. My hope is that there is a legitimate reason for it, but there might not be. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think? What do you think about the Red Sox putting both of these guys not on the chopping block, but at least close to it, and possibly could be put onto it depending on the right moves? So let me know what you think about that. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What do you think the reason behind all this is? Is it to get someone else? Is it to get something back in return? Or is it just because they don't want to spend money? Let me know all your thoughts on the latest Red Sox trade news and reports / rumors in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, don't forget, road to 10K. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you've hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.